Welcome to Ready, Set, Jets. Now, every week, you're going to get the pulse of the team like nowhere else. We are showing the most recent Jets press conferences and analyzing every word, every pause, every hidden message. And for that, we turn to that man, the 10-year NFL vet and former Jets quarterback and analyst on Jets Late Night, Jay Fiedler. Jay, good to see you again, man.
It's football season. Good to see you again, Steve, too.
Are you ready for this, man? The season is about to begin.
We are ready.
This feels like the hype that we had heading into last season, but we all know what happened. I mean, we all know what Aaron Rodgers brings to the field, but his veteran leadership is certainly valuable in the locker room as well as a little bit of an equilibrium and maybe a tone setter. So listen to how he describes his take on balancing those emotions.
Adversity is going to come at some point during the season. We got to make sure we're handling it the right way. You know, Mike McCarthy came in years ago and said our biggest difficulty is going to be handling success. And as the years went on, I realized how important those words are. I think what he meant was you just can't ride the highs too high, and then the whole world's crashing down after a tough game. Regardless of what happens on Monday, we win. The headline's going to be, we're going to the Super Bowl. We lose, same old Jets. So I think we need to get away from some of those outside themes and trust that the program, if it's good enough week one, it's good enough the rest of the season.
Man, he's taking the ammo out of the beat writers' guns right away, man.
I'll tell you, for someone that was in Green Bay for 19 years, he understands the New York media market pretty well.
He definitely does. I mean, we know that the coach is the one that sets the tone for the team, but the quarterback is the one that, I guess, has the pulse of the locker room. So from what you heard in that response, does that reaffirm the persona that we expect out of Aaron Rodgers?
Well, yeah. I mean, what we expected from him in terms of a leadership position is someone that's going to come in and like you said, set the tone in the locker room and really mute the emotions that can go on throughout the season. And that's kind of what he was getting through in a soundbite there. Obviously you have a head coach and who wants to set the tone, but without players in the locker room that reaffirm that, it really is tough to spread throughout the team. And having Aaron Rodgers, there to mute that emotion when they get high or when they get too low, is something that's really a big thing for this team, especially a young team that's kind of getting into their prime stage. With the core of Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, Jermaine Johnson kind of hitting their third season. Yeah. Those guys are growing up and they're understanding it, but having someone, who's been there and done it, really helps out.
And he's had to calm down the media before. I mean, we've heard it a number of times in Green Bay, how he did his best to try to calm things down. But
RELAX.
Yeah, exactly. Just relax. Aaron says relax. All right. We know that week one of the NFL season always brings surprises, even if the coaches are very familiar with one another. And Coach Saleh was, of course, the DC under Kyle Shanahan in San Francisco. But here's how he responds to being asked about creating a week one game plan, even if they know each other. This question's from Brian Costello of the New York Post.
What are the challenges, Robert, of game planning week one?
It's always a challenge because there's new wrinkles. I'm sure they've got wrinkles. We've got wrinkles. They've got new people they've added to the staff. We've got new people that we've added to the staff that I'll bring, and everybody brings wrinkles. So you're going to get a lot of unscouted looks, and you do your best to try to survive those plays. And from our perspective, offensively, you do your best to try to make sure you hit on those unscouted looks. And but it's week one's always a little bit goofy.
Unscouted looks. I really like that terminology because realistically, how much carryover is there from year to year, and how much do these coaches want to open up the playbook on both sides of the ball in week one?
Yeah, well, certainly. There's certainly some carryover year to year, but everyone wants to go into week one with different looks. They may be running some of the same schemes, but yeah, they're trying to disguise it a little bit differently, especially on the offensive side. And, offense usually has a little bit of an advantage, going into the early weeks because, the defenses haven't seen whether it's a new formation, new motions, new ways of getting into plays. Defenses tend to kind of go back to basic looks when they get confused. So the offense has a little bit of an advantage there, but you're going to see a lot of new things, and from both sides, from the Jets, from San Francisco, on offense and defense. You'll see some new wrinkles, some new looks, new disguises. It's all part of Week 1, and having a veteran who's seen it all for 20 years at the quarterback position certainly helps out.
Well, and you've got a Jets fan base that's seen it all, including what happened last year, and that is going to be the next topic. How much of that is going to be on the mind of Aaron Rodgers? We'll get into his response to that when we come back on Ready, Set, Jets. Welcome back to Ready, Set, Jets. Steve Overmeyer alongside Jay Fiedler dissecting the latest sound bites from the players and coaches. Now, we all know what happened on the fourth play of the season last year for the Jets, but will that linger in the mind of Aaron Rodgers? Here's a question from Rich Cimini of ESPN.com.
After what happened last year on the opening night, might there be a moment right before the game, or perhaps maybe after the fourth play, and say, here we go, now we're smooth sailing from here?
Yeah, I mean, there might be a little smirk after the fourth one. I don't know. We'll see. I'm sure they'll catch it, But I'm in a good mind space. Had a year to remember in a lot of ways. Some really difficult things, but some great things as well. So there's always a perspective moment during the anthem to collect your thoughts and kind of send gratitude out to the universe for the opportunity to be standing on the field in pads. So I'll be really excited about that.
I got to say, there's no question that seems off limits with Aaron Rodgers. He seems to answer every question with a little bit of an attitude of gratitude, and I wonder if that translates on the field at game time. You've obviously been injured and had to come back from injuries in the past. How much of that lingers in your mind, once the game actually starts?
Well, once the game starts, your focus is totally 100% on task at hand. The only issue that might occur is, if Aaron is not feeling confident in, his rehab. All indications is he was running around pretty good through training camp. No lingering effects. But you don't know what's inside of someone's head. If there's still a little tweak or something that doesn't feel right, that could get into the back of your mind. But I don't expect that from Aaron. He's a pretty spiritual guy, and I think the injury spirits are on his side right now.
Right. He's just calling on the positive spirits to just kind of help him out and get through that fourth play of the game. That's really the biggest issue he's got to get through. Once you get past that hurdle, then everything else is gravy at that point. But we're not done with this particular topic, because when we come back, we're going to hear from Coach Saleh himself as he expertly avoids the jinx. That's next on Ready, Set, Jets. This is Ready, Set, Jets, where we break down the press conferences for the Jets. Now, Coach Saleh was kind of put to the test on one big question from Tom Rock of Newsday. Take a listen to this.
Robert, do you think there'll be a little bit of an exhale when you guys get to the fifth offensive play?
Probably. No, we're fine. I'm not even, if lightning, never mind.
I mean, at that point, do you think this guy had visions of that soundbite on repeat? Because you know what he was about to say. I mean, you almost wanted to say, like, "Go, don't do it, don't say it."
Don't go there. Don't go there, Coach.
Right. I mean, he recognized that as well. But do you think that he had to have thought to himself, man, I can't take the bait on this one?
He was halfway there, though. He was. He had his mouth on the hook.
He had to pull the hook out of his mouth to not say it, right?
Oh, exactly. But, look, I think he had a little bit of fun with it. Everyone talks about jinxes and, are they for real? And, as players, as coaches, obviously you don't put any faith in jinxes or anything like that. You trust, what's out in front of you. And, look, football's a rough game. Injuries are going to happen to players year in and year out. You hope that, something like that doesn't happen again. And, But certainly Aaron Rodgers is 40 years old. He's coming off a pretty serious injury. So, you got to, hope that this new offensive line is there to protect them, and they could get some things rolling with the running game with Breece Hall to take a little pressure off him. Not force him into too many passing attempts every game, and get the offense rolling and keep them healthy through 17 plus games.
Yeah, and real quick, you have to imagine that this roster has been improved to a point where Pro Football Focus even gave them a 4th best roster in the NFL kind of a ranking. So you have to imagine that this team has at least been insulated against major injuries. It seems like. We don't want to jinx anything here, but
you certainly hope so. Yes.
It feels like this team has got themselves in the right place. They're in the right headspace. This feels as positive of a mentality for a Jets team as we've seen in decades. It feels like.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think there's a lot of high hopes this year, even more so than having Aaron Rodgers in last year. Having him in with renewed focus, being around this team for a year, albeit he wasn't always with them throughout the whole year last year as he was rehabbing, but he's got much more familiarity with everyone, and I think this offseason was really positive thing.
Well,
both for him continuing on and bringing in these new elements to the team.
I tell you what, man, it's been great just hearing what they have to say and breaking it all down, which, by the way, is what we do on Ready, Set, Jets. We lift the curtains on the hidden truths of the press conference, and, of course, we'll take a deeper dive into the games on Jets Late Night. That's when Jay will be joining me in studio to go over the game, give his expert analysis with his Football 101 plays on the big screen. That is every Sunday after the late news. And, of course, this week we will be previewing the Monday night game against the Niners on Jets Late Night. All right, that's going to do it. And, of course, every week we'll be breaking down the hidden meanings of the press conferences right here on Ready, Set, Jets. So, for Jay Fiedler, I'm Steve Overmeyer. Till next time.